Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins actually found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We even conducted the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in a quarter century, with clinically proven benefits like easier digestion, less spit up, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. And we make our own formula in the USA and our very own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
Hello and welcome to Real Menopause Talk. I have two guests today, Lisa Kiebsack and Adrienne Kramer. Adrienne and Lisa are a joy to meet. They met at a running club in North Carolina where they now live together. Between them, they have an extraordinary list of credentials, including physical therapy, massage therapy, integrative manual therapy, personal training, and they are also phenomenal athletes. In this episode, they share their individual experiences of menopause and what they've learned from it and from each other, and how they share the how-tos for a successful transition for all women. Because all women, not just ultra-runners and athletes, need good bone health, muscle mass, rest, nutrition, and hydration. They take the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of aging and manage them well. In fact, I'd go much further and say they manage them with gusto, growing older as people who behave rebelliously and unconventionally and age like a renegade. And just wait until you hear how they keep life interesting and fun. Adrienne and Lisa, it is such a pleasure to meet you both, so thank you very much for joining me. First of all, I would love to hear about both of you, whoever wishes to go first. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, your family, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Adrienne. I'm a physical therapist, and I was born in California, moved to the other coast to New York, and then to Colorado, and now North Carolina. I am also a North American Menopause Society certified menopause practitioner, which is kind of unusual for physical therapists. It's mostly doctors, nurse practitioners, and such. But I felt like somebody needed to help counsel because not all the doctors know what they're doing, to be quite honest. Mm-hmm. I like to stay active. My superpower is swimming long distance butterfly, miles of butterfly. Lisa and I like to do a lot of ultra running together, trails, things like that. I have a 24-year-old daughter and who has 4 moms.
Amazing. Lucky her.
She thinks so, which is good. And I guess that's about it. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah. And my name's Lisa Kiebsack, and I have a master's degree in social work. I'm a licensed massage therapist and a certified personal trainer as well. I'm also an artist, so I do that when I'm not doing the other things. And I was born in upstate New York in a little town called North Tonawanda. And my family moved to Florida when I was 14. And then I moved to North Carolina, and I've been here for about 15 years. I met Adrienne running in a running group. We've been running ever since. And I like to do most of the things that Adrienne does. I do not have a superpower as a butterflyer in open water swimming. That is something that I completely support her with. But I do love ultra running and being outside. And as an aside, I do some dog walking and pet sitting as well. So I'm around a lot of dogs. We're in a position where our lifestyles are too busy, so we can't have our own dog. So I decided to love on other people's dogs, and I do that part-time. I get to love other people's dogs.
That's fantastic. Who wouldn't? If you can't have your own, then that's the next best thing. The ultra running, I've only read about it through biographies of people like David Goggins. So can you fill us in a little bit? Because I'm just
not a good
so impressed.
The interesting thing about it is you can go your own pace, and it's not everybody running 100 miles without stopping. There is walking involved. And Lisa and I particularly like what are called loop races, where it might be a 3-mile loop and you have a certain amount of time, like 12 hours or 24 hours, and you just go around the loop as many times as you care to.
So you commit to the amount of time, but not the distance. The distance is whatever you want to or can do in that amount of time.
Yeah.
But if you commit to a 12-hour race or a 24-hour race, you're out there for that amount of time.
And you end up getting more than 30 miles usually.
And do you then challenge yourselves and challenge each other if you're running together? Do you work as a team or individually competitively?
We don't compete.
Right.
We do work as a team. Yeah, we stay together, and that's the fun of it. We did a 24-hour last December, and after about 19 hours, we both looked at each other and said, I'm not having fun anymore, so we stopped.
And we had gone further than we had ever gone before.
45 miles.
We talked about it, and we're like, I'm comfortable stopping now. So we did.
Amazing. Yeah. And you know what? That's kind of my aim for my philosophy of life. If it's not fun, don't do it. And 45 miles... that is super impressive. Do you both outdoors or freshwater swim, even though, Adrienne, your superpower is butterfly? Do you both do the swimming?
I do swim. As a matter of fact, for the past 2 years, I have not done any open water swimming. I developed a weird phobia with the water that I can't see the bottom in. It came out of the blue. And yesterday, I actually broke through and went on an open water swim with Adrienne and a couple of other women, and it felt really great. I had zero anxiety, so I'm hoping that maybe I'm past whatever that was.
She has done 5-mile open water swims, 3-mile open water swims. So there was a period of time before the last 2 years where it didn't bother her.
Yeah.
Well, I hope for you that comes back and it does become fun again.
Yes, yeah.
You've both travelled around a lot then through your lives as well, East Coast, West Coast, and now sort of Northish East Coast. Do you have any intention of carrying on travelling about, or are you very settled?
I think we're pretty settled here. Where we live, there's a lot of things for us to do outdoors, and it's kind of a more moderate climate. So year round, we can run trails, and there might be a little snow. Yeah. Sometimes I wish there was a little more snow, but in general, I think we're set here.
Yeah, we are. Well, you never know.
No, you never know.
And that's the thing with us. We're always up for adventure. Right now, my mother is still alive. She's 95, and she's here, and she's not going to move anymore. And if I move, she would want to move too. So I'm not moving as long as she's still with us. She's still quite active.
Lives alone.
Yeah.
95.
But after that, who knows where life will carry us.
No limits.
So, Adrienne, I would love to know more about becoming part of the American Menopause Society. But first of all, would either one of you or both of you, whoever wishes to go first, like to tell us about your experience of perimenopause or where you are in terms of menopause at the moment?
Sure, I'll start. My actual moment of menopause was last October. So that I was a couple of months shy of 57, which is a little late on the grand scheme of things. My biggest challenge through peri and now post-menopause has been migraines.
Right.
But I had those many, many years, and they were very predictable and cyclic. And through perimenopause, they got a little bit more frequent. Instead of once a month, maybe twice a month, and a little less predictable. but I've changed some things in my nutrition, and hopefully I'm heading away from those. That's my goal. That's my plan. Hot flashes, I had some. They were actually the worst when COVID was happening. As a physical therapist, I was working in a mask, and just the heat was on. The heat was on me, and the place where I was working, the air conditioning was going out, and so that was that was the biggest challenge, because I might have one every hour.
Wow.
But it's since tapered off, and maybe I have one or two a day, and maybe one or two a night, and that's tolerable. So I didn't feel the need to do any sort of hormone therapy. I have done some of the adaptogens that really help, like ashwagandha and rhodiola are my friends.
Which particular tweaks did you make to your nutrition for the migraines? Because I get asked about that a lot. Some women have them in such a debilitating fashion that they can last for 24 to 48 hours and they're back to back.
Mine are 72 hours. They tend to be 3 days without fail. And I'm not somebody that does well with medication. So what I use is Excedrin migraine. So it's Tylenol with caffeine and aspirin. And that makes me functional. And I'm on a low histamine diet. I'm really watching the histamines, because there were some other signs that histamines were part of my issue. And I feel better on so many levels on the low histamine. It hasn't quite alleviated the migraines yet, but I feel like they're a little more under control. With our long running, there was a lot of stuff I was eating, and I would regularly get a migraine after a long anything. And that I do have better control over, which is wonderful. And I should say also, because of my headaches, I was tracking my cycles. So I knew exactly when my day was, because my headaches were usually around my cycle. So Lisa she made a cake for me to celebrate my menopause day.
I love that. I think everybody should do that.
Everyone should do that.
And Lisa, how about you?
So I'm 60, and I went through menopause 10 years ago, prior to us having done any of our education, research, anything. So I knew nothing, because in my family, like in most families, it simply wasn't discussed. And 10 years ago, it really wasn't in the media as much as it is now either. So my idea of menopause was, well, it's just when you don't have your period. I had no idea about any symptoms or anything that goes along with it. So I had a few weird things. My face broke out in an acne. It was temporary, but it scared the bejesus out of me, because I've never had issues with my skin like that. And it was like boils along my cheeks and my nose. And then that eventually cleared up and has never come back. It was very peculiar, but was probably just the hormone, whatever was going on with my hormones at the time. And what I wasn't aware of, which I'm acutely aware of now, even 10 years later, because I've been looking back on the past 10 years. Prior to menopause, I was very happy-go-lucky, always easily sought out the positive in everything. And I noticed that since menopause, I have more incidences of maybe a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of depression, sadness, more than I ever have in my life. And I don't know if that's part of just post-menopause, if it's part of what we all as women kind of go through in the aging process, because we're battling what society has told us for so long that it's supposed to look like, but what we might feel deep down and know that it can be, that goes against the grain of everything we've been taught that is, which isn't good. I mean, there's such a jumble. Women have been force-fed so much information, and I think incorrect information, that it's really hard to sift through all of it on a deeply personal level, on a mental, emotional, spiritual level. And so for me, it's primarily been that for the past 10 years, is really coming to know myself as an older woman, which is even hard to say, because really mentally we all kind of stay stuck around maybe 30, 40, So then to see yourself in the mirror just continuing to change, and we have to accept that, like, this is a lifelong process of every year we're changing. It just becomes a little bit more noticeable the older we get, and we have to take greater care in paying attention to ourselves. Doesn't mean we can't stop. We're still running ultra runs and doing crazy things. But you do have to tend to your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual self with greater care.
And we are doing those things because we do pay attention.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's one of those things that's quite often overlooked, because if you go to the doctor and say, oh, I just don't feel myself, or I'm feeling a little bit awkward, uncomfortable about aging, it's not a medical situation. Like you said, it's very much emotional, spiritual, and it is part of the process of growing older. And you're right that even saying it feels weird because it has such negative connotations, but growing older is actually amazing. And the fact that we have so much going for us and we still have plenty of energy. We can still do amazing things. We're still all amazing, brilliant women. Just because we're not 30 or 20 anymore, I would argue that maybe we're even better. Love the 20s, love the 30s, some things. They're all wonderful. And we've got more to offer to people.
Yeah. And I think we can find things that we didn't know were out there, like my butterfly swimming. You know, I was competing in the pool and I just got kind of tired of it and kind of bored with it. And I figured out I could do this thing, and it's a slower pace. I don't care, but I can do it for a long time. And I think as I'm aging, that will continue with me because it's something that I shifted. I don't have the speed I had when I was younger, but it doesn't mean I have to stop.
God, no. Hope not. So what drew you to the American Menopause Society?
I felt like so many people were getting misinformation, even from their doctors, were getting misinformation about when they can start hormone therapy, when they should stop hormone therapy, what actually happens to women in perimenopause and postmenopause. Many physicians are undereducated, and a lot of them will be the first to tell you that they don't have a lot of information in their schooling about menopause, and they don't feel comfortable working with it. But some of them try anyway and deny what they don't know. And even as a physical therapist, I was seeing people come in with bad information. So our Age Like a Renegade class, or our Menopause 101 class, we focus a lot on things like nutrition and sleep and exercise. And I thought, I want a better handle on what really is recommended for peri and postmenopausal women when it comes to hormone therapy or not, and what are the risk factors. And so to better be able to support our clients in that realm, I went ahead and got the certification. It was a lot of studying, it was a test, and it was not an easy test.
And it was also eye-opening in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there were things that I don't necessarily, it's very pharmaceutical based. It's very double-blind study based, and there's a lot of things that they mention, but they don't necessarily recommend, or recommend might be too strong of a word, but because there hasn't been but you can't double-blind study yoga, and you can't double-blind study breathing exercise. You know, there's a lot of things that are very helpful. Even some of the supplements, there aren't enough studies on a lot of the supplements because there's not money in those studies.
And to misquote Amy Schumer from her recent stand-up session, because it happens to women. So not studied yet.
Right. Right. Yes. Yeah. And
long way to go.
I also took a deep dive into that. We both did, into the lack of research on women and actually the path that it took. And it's really, it's kind of shocking and very disheartening that even as late as 2016, they weren't including women in the early parts of the trials. So when they got to the part where they're figuring out dosages, women are just entering the picture. And even in 2019, when they looked back, they aren't always using the information of women when they use women in trials. So we're making baby steps, but they are baby steps.
Yeah, and then that's not even to take into account African American women, Hispanic women, women of color.
Right.
It's if there are women, it's Caucasian women.
And if even just the bone scan information, they're looking compared to a 30-year-old white woman. a 30-year-old white woman doesn't have the same bone density as a
Mhm.
30-year-old African-American woman or an Asian woman.
Never mind a college man, white man.
Right, where most of the
Yeah.
research is. Yeah.
So we still have a long way to go, but we shall. Also in societal
Yeah.
terms. So I love the notion of growing older as a person who behaves in a rebelliously unconventional manner for your age like a renegade. So I was in the hairdresser a couple of weeks ago and I heard a girl next to me say she was 37 and she felt she should cut her hair off because she didn't want to become one of those middle-aged women who had hair that was too long. And I just wanted to turn to her and go, don't let anyone tell you how to wear your hair. Wear it as long or as short as you like. And not just your hair. Don't let anyone tell you what to wear, what to do. You're 37.
Don't let anyone tell you 37 is middle age.
Oh my goodness. That was number one. But the number two was, no, please don't let society dictate anything to you. Society can do one. So please enlighten us all about Age Like a Renegade.
So Age Like a Renegade really started because Adrienne and I were working out in a gym with a lot of people that were about half our age. And then I'm really condensing this, but we started to do some Spartan races. We were in a race one time, and I use the term race loosely. We weren't racing. We were just doing it. we went under this dunk well where you have to come out of the water, and there was a volunteer standing there, and she said, I want to be you guys when I grow up. And we looked at each other because we didn't really think about the fact that we were older. We were just doing what we love. And we're like, oh gosh, yeah, we're compared to a lot of people here, we are older. And people started to say, like, how can I follow you? How can I see what you're doing? Because we started to make up challenges for ourselves just to keep life interesting and fun. So that's really how it started. We created Age Like a Renegade as a way for people that knew us to kind of follow what we were doing. And then it became so much more because once we started to educate ourselves about menopause and getting older, just to become more knowledgeable, we started to see that what was really driving the information were the Title IX athletes who were, you can carry it from here.
Yeah, they wanted to continue to perform well. And so they started demanding, in a sense, more information, like what happens to my body. And Dr. Stacy Sims has been really instrumental in putting information out there. Mm-hmm. And I took her Women Are Not Small Men course first, which is Women Through the Ages, how we're different. And then her Menopause for Athletes course. And then I realized that not just athletes need this information. So the information is essentially the same. Athletes just use it to a different level. But all women need bone health. All women need muscle mass to maintain their bone health and their strength throughout life. All women have the same changes. Mm-hmm. They just don't think about it as much as the athletes were at that point.
So Age Like a Renegade, we packaged that information for the average woman. So every woman can receive this information, not just a professional semi-pro athlete. And then also added the mental, emotional, spiritual piece to it to help women navigate getting older.
That's an amazing package because you're so right, actually. The athletes know so much more even about hormonal changes and fluctuations, and they will hack them with supplementation or something that suits them. They know more about lifestyle and diet to support their requirements. But if you do break it down, actually, they are requirements for everybody, but making it accessible and palatable and easy for everyday people, it is absolutely crucial for well-being. And you're clearly implementing it all and are really more on the athlete side of things. So how do you maintain all your energy? Because what with physical therapy, integrative manual therapy, personal training, massage therapy, wild swimming, ultra marathons, you need a lot of energy. So how do you do it?
We also need rest. And that's
yes.
a major component, especially as postmenopausal women. We have to be more in tune with our bodies because we need more rest than younger athletes need. So that's a big part of it. Sleep is super important as well. We eat healthy. We're not perfect. I'm a little more perfect than Lisa here, but
Absolutely.
we don't expect
I'll admit to
perfection,
that.
and we do eat healthy. We drink water with a pinch of salt so we absorb it better. We do all the things. We have every day we do at least a 5-minute meditation. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a difference. Crazy enough, it makes a difference with sleep, because my brain, when I am awake in the night, for whatever reason, it doesn't automatically go into overdrive with telling me things, because it knows how to be quiet because of the 5-minute meditation. So I think there is something to that with the sleep.
And I have to say that our life is really designed in a way that we are constantly having conversations about these things. So we're constantly having conversations about, food and what do we want to cook and what do we want to eat. And we don't have any event planned for July. Let's see if we can find something that we want to do for July. Or gosh, it's been a while since we've created a personal challenge for ourselves. What crazy thing can we do? Currently, we're recording this on our back porch because we've been living on our back porch for the past month. So we're only allowed to go in the house for essentials, cook, go to the bathroom, take a shower, stuff like that.
Laundry, things that we have to do in the house.
We can't hang out in there. We're living on the back porch. So that's it was supposed to be 1 week. We've loved it so much. We've been out here a month. So we'll see. I don't know when the end is coming, but so we're always having conversations. If we see that something's less than or not where we want it to be in our relationship or in anything, we're having a conversation about it, and we're seeing what can we do. We're actively creating the life that we want to live, the relationship we want to have, all of it. And I think too many people sort of become lax about life and about their personal life and their self and their well-being, instead of realizing that you can create it day by day to be what you want it to be.
That is so inspiring. I just love that. And the way you have a conversation together. Also, my 11-year-old will be insanely jealous that you're living outside. She's desperate to go and live in a tent in the garden.
We have a tent on our screened-in porch. You can see it behind us here.
It's
that's
fantastic.
That's the bedroom. We have a futon behind us is our living room, and we're sitting at the table.
In the kitchen.
So, well, we all eat all of our meals at the table here.
Whilst I love it, I have to ask why.
Well, the challenge, I was saying I wanted more outdoor time. I'm indoors all day at work, and it's gotten nice out, and we've had actually an unusually cool spring. So we've had more cold nights than hot nights, which has made it tolerable. And then, we always push ourselves to try something that we may not be comfortable with. And we found ourselves doing too much plop in the chair in the house. And to shift that habit, we took away the chair. Took away the house.
Yeah, keep the house.
So we haven't not allowed ourselves to actually. We piled stuff on the chairs, so we're not even tempted.
We're not even tempted to sit in the chair.
Amazing. Are there any common threads that you see with the women who want to talk to you?
I think there's two main threads. There's the thread of how can we age better? How what do we do? And when we were talking about the nutrition and what we do, we are pretty militant about our protein, which is something that most women don't do. They resist. Too. Yeah. So there's that. But and then there's the people that are more interested in the challenges, like some of our crazier challenges, 24 hours with a kettlebell where we didn't put it down for 24 hours. And every hour we had this deck of cards that was kettlebell exercises. And every hour we'd pull a card and do the exercise. We did sleep for 4 hours in the night and with the kettlebell. So if you rolled over, it didn't have to be on you, but if you rolled over, you had to take it with you.
I see a lot of, most women that I have come across are resisting the aging process. They're simply not accepting the fact that they're moving into this area that we've been told is not important, that you lose your purpose, that you lose your beauty, you lose your sexiness or whatever. Like you lose all of these things. It slowly begins to dwindle and then it's gone. Or you reach 50 and well, it's over now. It's downhill from here on out. And so many women are living into that and they don't realize that they have a choice, that was a line of BS that's been fed to us for a long time. So there's almost a small sense of giving up after a certain age that I want to reignite women to take charge of their lives. The other thing that I notice is the over concern with their body. Their body's changing. Obviously, we're not 20 years old anymore. I'm 60 years old. My body is not going to look the same. Sometimes I look in the mirror. I had a glimpse of it yesterday when I put my bathing suit on and I thought, that's my mother's body, but I'm aging. Of course, I'm not going to have that 20-year-old body. So how do we learn to love ourselves along the way and embrace ourselves and still see the beauty in ourselves? It's so easy for me to look at another 60-year-old woman and say she's gorgeous. But why can't I do that looking at myself? So I see that struggle with women. And we're just both so passionate about helping women see the beauty and potential within themselves at any age.
As role models, I mean, who could ask for better? You just sound like you're having so much fun.
We do.
It's how it should be, right?
Yeah. I think one of the things that is different about us is we might have, I always wanted to play the drums. And I thought about it, but I didn't think that seriously about it. Well, I'm taking drum lessons now.
Great.
There is nothing that you should put aside because there's no time like the present. It doesn't matter that I'm sitting at the School of Music with 6-year-olds coming in for their piano lesson. I don't care. It's fun. And if you have that little voice in your head that says, wonder if you can do this, wonder if you can paint, wonder if you can birdwatch, whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be a physical thing, then follow it because you never know what's going to come out of that.
You're never too old to start or try something, because I certainly remember as well going through that phase of, oh gosh, is that it? This is, and now it's all over. Oh my God, what a waste, or not a waste entirely, but I thought there would be more. And then suddenly thought, well, hang on, I could have 20, maybe 30, maybe more if I'm lucky, years ahead of me. Yeah. So what am I going to do with that? I'm not going to sit on the chair. The chair is gone.
Even if you had 10 years, if you started something new today and did it for 10 years, how good could you be at it?
Exactly. Yeah. So what next for the pair of you?
Oh, I'm trying a new kind of race next weekend. It's called a swim run, where you run and then swim and then run and then swim and then run and then swim. So everything you're doing, you have to have on you. So for the swim, your shoes are on, but you can wear a buoy and paddles. But then for the run, you have to carry the buoy and paddles. So that's my new adventure, my upcoming.
Good luck. I hope it's really fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That's the key. Mm-hmm. We've done a few practices with some friends, and we've had a lot of fun just playing around with it.
And Lisa?
For me, I'm not 100% certain. I'm an artist, and although I've sold my work here and there from, to people that I know in very small opportunities I've never really put it out there. And I really would like to maybe have a small show or something, or find some place where I can show my work on a more continual basis. It's just kind of exposing a vulnerability. So that's, I think, a big thing that's out of my comfort zone that I'm going to tackle.
Excellent. Oh, I'm excited for that. You'll have to let me know how it all goes and where it's showing, and so we can maybe let everybody else know as well. To wrap up then, what have you learnt from menopause?
I would say the biggest thing is that it is nowhere near over. And in fact, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get to know your body better and to listen to it and figure out what it needs and support that, so that you can really enjoy your life through the process and beyond.
For me, it's been just a huge lesson in self-care, self-compassion, and self-love to the extreme. We can be our hardest critics. We would never talk to a friend the way we talk to ourselves sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really taking all of that to heart with myself and just trying to be better to myself.
Where can people find you and Age Like a Renegade?
We have a website. Everything is Age Like a Renegade. So agelikearenegade.com is the website. On Instagram, Age Like a Renegade with a little underscore between each of the words. Facebook, Age Like a Renegade. You can email us at agelikearenegade@gmail.com if you have any questions or if we can support you in any way. And yeah, that's where we are. We're looking to start a YouTube channel soon. So that should be fun.
Fantastic.
We're also starting to put out some smaller classes that are single focus. Like we have a bone class, all things about bone health, including the medications.
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah, and then I think we have a few more ideas for some smaller classes that are single topic.
Thank you both so much for your time. I have had such a fun afternoon talking to you. I want to join you on your porch now.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
It's been fun.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I will leave the details of where to find Lisa and Adrienne in the show notes. Follow us wherever you choose to get your podcasts, and thank you for your reviews. They are massively appreciated and do help other people find us. As always, I love to hear from you, from your comments, what you're enjoying, and anything you would like to change, anything you'd like to hear more of, or indeed less. All feedback is good. So do get in touch. Hattie, Hatty, at realmenopausetalk.com. I do try to reply to everybody. It takes a little bit of time, but I will get back to you. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
And now, an Etsy holiday gifting mission. Today's episode, Operation Delivered on Time. Here's the situation. The holidays are coming up, which means you're on a mission to buy handcrafted gifts, and they have to be delivered on time. Failure is not an option. You need a guarantee that everything will get to its destination. Impossible, right? Not this year, because you're shopping for gifts on Etsy. Etsy is where everyone can find handmade gifts from independent sellers and get them delivered on time or your money back. Whether you're searching for handmade home pieces like serveware, cutting boards, and throw pillows, or personalized items like necklaces, handbags, and seasonal jackets, Etsy has it and delivers on time or your money back. New to Etsy? Use the code HOLIDAY10 for 10% off your first purchase. That's code HOLIDAY10. Maximum discount value of $50. Expires December 31st, 2023. See terms at etsy.com/terms. To claim refund, see terms at etsy.com/protection. Etsy account required. Etsy has it. Shop Etsy.com.